Should you pay off debts first or invest? Is it better to invest and pay off debts? Hey, I'm Hervin, Pesa. I'm a financial planner, but just like you, I'm still on this journey to building wealth and financial independence. This is video 25 of 30 from our 2021 Money School. It's a mini course where we share all the money lessons for free. All the money lessons that school has failed to teach us. So if you want to join us in this journey and you want to take control of your money, consider subscribing and be sure to hit the bell so you never miss any of our episodes. Hey, so as a financial planner, this question comes up a lot. Most of the times it's bypassing or through emails or casual conversations and so on. But before I get to that, please understand that I know the math behind interest rates, interest rate spreads and returns and so on. I know that mathematically speaking, earning 7 to 8% and deciding to carry a 3% loan for longer has a positive yield. But beyond the technical information and techniques that I'll break down when we talk about paying off debts, I still have to ask clients questions when it comes to coming up with this decision. These are the questions that I ask because typically this happens when there's either a free cash flow situation or there's a lump sum that could come from a bonus or a gift or what have you. The decision really is, where do you put the next dollar? Where should the next dollar go? So I'll share the questions I ask my clients when this becomes a part of their priorities. This helps them get to their own answers and hopefully this guides you as well. So before I move on though, I just want to say something that may or may not apply to you, but please listen anyway. See, whatever your debt situation is, please give yourself grace. Let this internet stranger give you permission to move on and find a solution. I just want to tell you that I believe in you. You got this. First things first, I just want to say debt obviously is an emotionally charged situation, right? There are good debts, there's bad debts, and we can talk about the math and why either is true, but before anything else, debt is a highly personal thing. There's how other people see it, but there's also a different thing on how you see it and how you feel about it, and more importantly, how you feel about yourself because of it. As I meet more and more people, hear more stories, and of course as I live life and make my own blunders, I've come to realize and really internalize the gravity of our mental health. I can cite studies and stats and data, but I just really want to talk to you. So the first question that I ask is, would you show up better if all this debt is paid off? What do I mean by that? Would you be able to make clear decisions, right? Like, do you feel like debts are weighing on you and they're putting a strain on your relationship with your spouse or partner or people around you? Do you feel like you'd show up better if you were not stressed about your financial commitments? Let me put it another way. It's still under the same set of questions, but what are the consequences if you don't get your debts paid off faster? Could be nothing, but it could also be having to hide stuff from your husband or wife. That's a far higher cost than a 4% annual spread on your returns. So I prioritize that question before we even get to all the technical stuff, is how you feel about debt and how it affects you, how you show up personally. Consider that first before anything else. Question 2 is still all about you. What are you trying to accomplish? What are your goals? This is really when the whole good debt versus bad debt situation comes in. If you're in a season of life where you want to grow, especially in your career or in your business, you may benefit from financial leverage or gearing. See, a lot of high growth companies have high gearing ratios or debt to equity ratios, but these companies are also left with more restriction and fewer choices when it comes to economic slowdowns. Let me translate that to your situation. Let's say maybe you have a job or your career opportunity that really lights a fire under you, and maybe you want to start a business. But this change means a few years of lower income. See, if your fixed expenses and your financial obligations are beyond what the new venture can initially provide, you may lose out on that opportunity because you can't financially afford it. On the flip side, maybe you're comfortable with taking on debt to grow your business or your empire. For me and Aware, one of the avenues for growth that we're exploring is purchasing existing advisory and accounting practices. And I went through a near acquisition recently, but it was only when the deal fell through that I realized that I probably needed to become more comfortable with taking on debt for acquisition. Because I was too slow to make those decisions. I wasn't clear whether I was comfortable or not. I probably missed that deal because of that. I guess the question is, with the goals, like, are the debts taking you further away from where you want to be? Or is it propelling you closer to your actual goal? This holds true for education and training too, right? So maybe you have to go and pay student loans to have a career change. Number 3, do you already have emergency reserves funded? Serious question. Like, the whole virus situation we've encountered put a severe toll on all of us. Some more than others, I concede to that. But one of the silver linings that I took from this is it showed just how vulnerable we are. All of us. If you're all in with the markets and you don't have a reserve, imagine having to withdraw from your investments when it was down 30% in March of 2020. What if it was in an RSP? That would hurt a lot more. Imagine you're down 30%, plus you'd have to pay 30% in tax when you take it out. You're getting 49 cents of every dollar of asset. This is the same thing with debt, by the way, especially with non-revolving credit, like a car loan. You pay it all off, but boom, there's an emergency that comes your way. You can't withdraw from your car. Having 3 months of your expenses covered will buy enough transition time for those who are salaried or have hourly income, especially if you have a dual income household. But if you have variable income, like commissions and so on, then you have to have serious thoughts in beefing up your reserves up to 6 months of expenses. But before you even get to the debt versus investing conversation, if you have no reserves, settle that first. Number 4, is this credit card debt? Credit cards have an average annual interest rate of 20%, compounded daily. It's even higher than that if you consider taxes. So if it's a credit card debt or credit card debts, there are no investments in the world that would guarantee a 20% plus return. The only argument for this is employee matches, right? But even if you have an employee match at work, it's very, very easy for credit card interest to eclipse all the free money you'd receive from your work match. I know this is not really how credit cards charge, but follow along with this example. Let's say that you have $100 monthly as a match from work or $1,200 a year. Divide that by 20% for the credit card rate. This shows that if you carry a balance of more than $6,000 in your credit cards, you'd pay more than $1,200 in interest every year. If it was $200, then 12 grand in credit card balances. So that's kind of the break that I'm seeing. I would always still prefer to just pay the credit cards off. Number 5, what are your other investment choices? What are you actually going to invest in if you don't pay the debt? Do you know what you're doing? All the bro marketing and Instagram and social media used to be about Lambos and booties and plane rides and Maldives. But that messaging seems to have dried up. Maybe it's not working anymore. I'm not sure if they all hire the same copywriter or they just copy each other's work. But here's the new hook. They show you some sort of luxury item. Don't buy this. Buy this instead. Don't buy the Benz or don't buy some luxury good. Invest in my Amazon FBA business instead.
Hey, I'm the random dude wearing a turtleneck on your newsfeed, so you should listen to me. See, most people, they settle for 10% returns in the stock market because that's all they know. What a bunch of losers. But I know you want to escape the rat race, so you're not trapped with your 9-to-5 job more than you need to be. I'll share the money lessons that I've learned when I was building my $1 million empire in the fastest growing industry in the world. I'll teach you Amazon FBA. Click the links in the description below, and I'll show you how to be rich. Course costs $3,999.
Or invest in my real estate course instead. Or invest in my social media challenge or Forex or options trading courses. And they have crazy examples. They take snapshots of the rosiest statistics. Now, I'm not saying that those are all scams. In fact, I'd wager that most of them are well-intentioned, but the truth is most people don't even finish those courses. I have a Udemy account to prove it. All right, but my point is that the returns in whatever investment or whatever venture that you take on, in the market especially, is not guaranteed, right? The debt payments, whatever you're paying off, think of that as a guaranteed return. Watch my video talking about historical returns and realistic expectations. That's video 23. So you get to understand how realistic it is for you to compare that 7% return versus the interest rate and so on. I hope those 6 questions gives you a framework on how to look at your personal investment and debt situation. If you need help, you can always consult with us. In tomorrow's video, we're going to talk about a strategic spending plan. That way, you can actually take control of your budget. That's a crucial step if you have debts to pay. Until tomorrow, stay aware, take control. I love y'all. Bye. Watch yesterday's video over here. Check out the whole playlist and be sure to subscribe.